Hello and welcome to section 9.1, Circumference. So we're going to be starting a new unit about geometry, and we're going to be focusing a lot on circles for the first couple parts. Now, with circles, we have to relearn some new terminology. And our goal for today is being able to find a circumference or to use it to find other parts of a circle. Now, as I just said, we need to learn some of the terminology, the parts of a circle, because if we don't understand the words, we're not going to understand what the problem's asking us, and we won't be able to do what the problem is asking us to do. So this picture right here does a great job kind of depicting everything that you need to know about a circle. So a key part is obviously the center, and I don't think I need to write down the definition for that. That's the center of a circle. It's kind of a big deal. After that, we have the radius. The radius is any line, let's do it over here, any line from the center to the edge of the circle. So anything coming from the center going off to the edge. Then we have the diameter, which is any line that goes edge to edge, so from, like in this example right here, but going through the center. And then finally, we have the circumference. And in a word, that is the perimeter of a circle. That's how far around something is in a circle. And so what we're going to be doing is trying to find the circumference, so how far along a circle is around, or we'll use it to then find the other components, whether it be a radius or a diameter. In order to do that, we need to know the formulas. And so we have essentially one formula spun two different ways. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or circumference is equal to pi times diameter. So going back to our picture over here, I would like to point out that a radius or a diameter is just two radiuses. So here's a radius, and if we combine them, we've made a diameter. So 2r is equal to diameter. So if we wanted to, we just swap out the 2 and the r for d. It depends on the information we're given or what it is we're trying to find. So let's do some examples, and I think you'll start to make more sense to you. But really quickly, before we do those examples, pi is going to be one of two things for us. It'll either be 3.14, or sometimes we'll be asked to use pi as a fraction. And if we want to use it as a fraction, we'll use 22/7. Again, they're really, really close to each other. So those are the two approximates we'll use for pi when we are crunching some numbers. So now let's actually take a look at some examples. Here's our first example. An irrigation sprinkler waters a circular region with a radius of 14 feet. Find the circumference of the region watered by the sprinkler. So, okay, what we'll do is just sort of draw a little picture, because that always sort of helps wrap our mind around the problem. We have a sprinkler, and it's going to go this way, and it's 14 feet. And we're even told that its radius is 14 feet. So all we have to do is apply our formula. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And I'm going to use 2 pi r because I've given the radius. And I'm going to plug in all that information. So the 2 stays as 2. Pi I'm going to substitute for 22/7 because that's what they said right there. And then I'm going to times that by my radius, which is 14. And so let's see here. I can start simplifying. 14 and 7 become 2 and 1. And then I'm seeing a bunch of 2's here. We have 2 times 22 times 2, which is 44 times 2, which is 88. That circumference is 88 feet. So again, the way we go about this, start off with the formula, read the problem, plug in the numbers they tell you to plug in. Let's look at another example. Okay, in this one it says find the circumference of the circle to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so we have two formulas we could be using. We could use circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or circumference is equal to pi times diameter. What you need to realize is that what they gave you right here is a diameter. And so what we will then do is plug in 11 for our diameter. So circumference is equal to pi times 11. And since they didn't say what to use, you could either use 3.14 or you could use 22 over 7. I'm partial to 3.14 times 11, and that gets us 34.54 centimeters. Just going back to the unit that was given there. All right. Now, just to throw it out there, we could also work this problem backwards. So we'll use this as an example. Let's say we have a circle whose circumference is equal to 34.54 centimeters. And we want to find, let's say, the radius. So it's fair game for me to ask a question like this. Well, again, we use the information that we're given. And so we'll use, and since I'm looking for radius in this case, circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And I plug in my information. 34.54 is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r. And what I have to do is solve for r. So I'll have to divide by 2 times 3.14, divide by 2 times 3.14, and we end up getting r to equal 5.5. And that'd be in centimeters. And that makes perfect sense because originally the problem we had at the very top of the screen here was the diameter was 11. Well, if you cut that in half, then this should be 5.5 because 5.5 plus 5.5 is 11. All right, so now we might have some problem solving type problems that we have to do. So let's take a look at an example of that. Okay, a circular pond has a circumference of 628 feet. A model boat is moving directly across the pond along a radius at a rate of 5 feet per second. How long does it take the boat to get from one edge of the pond to the center? All right, so let's draw it out. So these problems can be really confusing, especially if we don't have an image in our mind. We're told that the circumference here is 628. I saw the word radius, so that means we need to solve for the radius here. And so circumference is equal to 2 pi r. 628 is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r. Divide by 2 times 3.14. Divide by 2 times 3.14. And r is equal to 100. All right, now we're told that this little model boat is moving directly across the pond along a radius at a rate of 5 feet per second. And so what that means is that, let's say the boat starts here and it's going to go in a straight line to the center. It's not going from here to there to there. It's going in a straight line. So what we have to do is figure out how long that's going to take. Well, we found out that the radius itself was equal to 100 feet. And it's going 5 feet per second. So we'll go 100 divided by 5. And that's going to give us 20 seconds. So I'll take 20 seconds for that thing to go from one end, or from the edge to the center in a straight line. Now again, that's a tricky problem, so let's take a look at another example, and this will be the final example, I promise. Okay, a circular garden has a circumference of 44 yards. Lars is digging a straight line along a diameter of the garden at a rate of 7 yards per hour. How many hours will it take him to dig across the garden? So again, let's draw a picture. We're told the circumference here is 44, and that this guy Lars is digging a diameter. Okay, so he's going from one end to the other end, and he's going through the center. We need to find out what that diameter is, and so that's the question first we have to solve. C is equal to pi times our diameter. So 44 is equal to 3.14 times d, our unknown, and that gives us d is equal to 14 and barely any change, like 0.01. So we'll essentially just say 14 feet or 14 yards is our diameter. Especially since, we take a look at how fast he's digging 7 yards per hour. So in order to dig this ditch down along the diameter, he's doing 7 yards per hour. If there's a total of 14 yards, that means we'll just take our 14 divide by 7, and that'll tell us how long it'll take him to do this, which is 2 hours. So there we go. That's circumference in a nutshell. You'll either need to find circumference given the diameter or given a radius. You might have to work backwards, find the radius or diameter given the circumference, and then you might have to do a little bit of problem solving with it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Best of luck today with your homework.